I opened the door of my quarters to a wall of mussels and silks. The Frillian twins were about to knock. Blip pulled her hand back just shy of knocking me in the face, which I appreciated, and she looked a little embarrassed about it. "Hello," she said, straightening up. "We would like to borrow your tiny predator." I glanced back at the mismatched orange and black cat who was currently licking her butt on my bed. "Telly?" "Why?" Blop said, "We suspect there were small pests hidden in the packaging of the collectibles we just brought on board." He looked over his shoulder at the empty hallway and lowered his voice. "We're hoping to resolve the problem before the captain has to know." "Gotcha," I said. I took a step toward the bed before I thought to ask, "Are you sure the pests are safe for Telly to hunt? No spines or poison?" They looked at each other uncertainly, waving their head frills in a complicated body language that I couldn't pick up. "Reasonably sure," Blip told me. "How about one of you borrows a med scanner from Egg Skin," I suggested, while the other brings me up to speed on the details. "On it." Blop was gone in a flash of silk. I wondered idly when they would go back to their other favorite fashion choice of elastic bands, the polar opposite of their current getup. Then I refocused when Blip started explaining. Apparently they'd just picked up an exciting new set of collectible Watsits on our last stop. Blip went on a tangent about how she'd never seen this model before, without actually describing them in any detail, and now the things were never where they left them. The twins had found them scattered around their quarters several times, with no reason to suspect any crewmate of messing with their stuff on purpose. Did they still have the packaging that pests might have come in? No. Had they kept the door closed so any pests couldn't get out? Also no. I asked, "Are you sure you shouldn't just tell the captain? We don't even know how many there might have been." Blop came trotting up with a handheld med scanner while Blip waved her hands and frills in what was probably supposed to be a reassuring way. "It's probably zipper bugs. They never venture far until they've eaten everything they like in a small area." "What are they eating? And you've got a stash of shrimp sticks in there, don't you?" I asked, remembering their favorite snack. They chorused, of course, then both spoke at once about how those had been scattered at first too, then hidden in what they hoped was a secure location. They hadn't checked yet to see if there were signs of gnawing on the container. Since Blop had the scanner and they were both fretting about this, I hurried to scoop up Telly with only minimal meowing complaints, and followed them down the hall to their quarters. Telly rearranged herself in my arms and sniffed the air curiously as we walked. I kept an eye out for anything scurrying that she might launch herself towards. The door was at least closed right now. Blip opened it quickly. I was wondering what the sudden rush was when I heard the distinctive tentacle slap of an approaching strong-arm crewmate. The twins really didn't want word of this to get out. Not that I blamed them. I followed Blip inside with Blop right behind, and the door shut before anyone saw. Frills drooped with relief. I looked around the somewhat messy quarters for a sign of pests. All I saw were various belongings that could stand to be put away, and a long shelf of little palm tree-shaped things set out for admiring. Several of those were also on the floor. I was about to ask if those were the collectibles when Telly kicked off my chest and tackled something. The Frillians shouted. Blop aimed the scanner. Telly lay on her side and Rabbit kicked a small thing that crinkled. "There's nothing there," Blop exclaimed. "It's only picking up the one animal." "Hey, she's chewing on the Model 5. Give that back." Blip reached for the little collectible that apparently made an excellent cat toy, then pulled her hand back when that just led to a claw swipe. "Telly, drop it," I scolded, nudging the cat with my shoe. When she rolled over and attacked my ankle instead, I deftly grabbed the toy. "That is not for you." When I checked it for damage, I saw firstly that it was fine, secondly that it looked more like a sea anemone than a tree, and thirdly that it smelled strongly of shrimp. Spicy ones. It made my eyes water a little. Blop scanned the room one corner at a time while Blip took the collectible from me. Telly was putting her hind feet to work at kicking my ankle, having a fine old time, but I was wearing thick socks so I let her. That gave me a moment to pick up the handful of other Watsits nearby. Blip asked, "How do we get her to hunt the pests instead?" She put the Model 5 back on the shelf and took the others I'd gathered. At the same time, Blop said, "I'm not picking up anything on the scanner." Did they already leave? He and Blip both rushed to check on their stash of shrimp sticks. All the heavy footsteps disturbed Telly, who scrambled onto a chest of drawers where she was above foot level. This put her at the perfect height to jump onto the collectible shelf, which she promptly did. She swatted 3 onto the floor and leapt down after them. I moved to take them away from her while the Frillians were busy being confused about the pristine state of their shrimp sticks. They hadn't noticed Telly yet. "Do you have the scanner on the right setting?" Blip asked. "Yes, I double-checked." Blop said. "They aren't here. They must have left already. Maybe it's not zipper bugs. We'll have to tell the captain after all." "Guys," I said, holding a cellophane and rubber seaweed toy at arm's length. "I think we may have found your pest." They turned to look just as Telly sprang up to pull it from my hand. They both shouted some more while I got the toy back. "What? No way. Was it her from the start? What a jump." "You may want to keep your door shut," I said, giving her my foot to fight again while I stretched to put the toy back on the shelf. I'd have to wash the smell off my hands. Which gave me an idea. "Hey, can you spare one of those shrimp sticks?" They could. I opened the door, then wiggled the shrimp stick in front of Telly. "Here, kitty kitty. Fetch." When I tossed it out into the hall, she bounded eagerly after it. A startled burble sounded, followed by Moore's voice. "What was that? Did the cat just catch a pest?" "Nope," I called out to him. "Just a shrimp stick. No pests here." I smiled at the Frillians, who were still processing all this. "I'll take her back to my quarters for some proper cat toy time. Don't forget to put the scanner back." I left the Frillians to tidy up their quarters in a mix of relief and exasperation. Out in the hall, More Tentacle walked past Telly, giving her a wide berth as she chewed happily on the treat. She didn't mind when I picked her up again. As far as she was concerned, this was probably a great day with no worries whatsoever.